Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
Yo, what up? Go ahead, grab you something, drink, get comfortable, like, share, repost. Tell people that know people that know people that know people. We on. It's about to be one of those nights. Get comfortable. Shout outs. Peace and love to everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. Shout out my poets, writers, content creators. Shout out to my brother Skywalker, Rob, Sydney. Salutes to all of y'all, man, who's been pulling up, tapping in to these discussions. Truly favorite and a privilege to be here with you guys, man. The kick back, do our little thing, you know what I'm saying? We did a tribute to Malcolm Jamal Warner on Monday. This is going to be a little different. We're still honoring him, but there's some things that we need to put on the table. And for a number of reasons. For me personally, because, you know, there's always like this weird space when it comes to Black artists, singers, actors, musicians. When things go awry in our culture, especially if you're in that limelight, you just can't go out gracefully. It's always something attached to it. In this case, yeah, we have another one of those. Could this really have been an accident, or is there more to this story than we know about? And I have a couple of clips that I'm going to play now. Let me go ahead and put this out there on the table. I'm not basing my thoughts on these clips. they're just references, because this isn't the only platform that's covering it or speaking on it. There's people on Instagram, on Facebook, on Rumble that's all saying, look, man, these celebrities, these black celebrities in particular, they're being hunted, they're being executed. There's a conspiracy. There's more to it than them just conveniently losing their life. This one hit the nation hard. I mean, extremely difficult times, man. And I'm still having a hard time wrapping my mind around it. I got my partner in here. I'm gonna let him come up. You wasn't here when we gave our flowers to him, so if you want to pay your respects to that brother, I'm gonna go ahead and let you do that.
Saturday night, man, we back with another one. Yeah, I really didn't see the tribute that you did for Theo Huxtable, man. Just like many, man, big part, huge part of the childhood, though. Ain't no doubt about that. It just sucks, man. It sucks. The only thing I'm gonna say, because we about to get into it, we're gonna slice this up like some pizza, pie, and all of that. But the only thing I'm gonna say before we get into it is that it's funny how when we get on these topics and we go inside and discover more information, just like lives in the past. Like I always tell you, the goalposts always move, doesn't it? And when it comes down to this situation with Theo, same deal. The goalposts keep moving. So, hell of an actor, uh, great musician. He was a poet. All of that's true. But he had a passion for what he did. You know what I'm saying? And the main thing when I think about Malcolm Jamal Warner, man, is that whatever he did, man, he was like mad consistent. Like greatness is consistency, man, and that's what he was, man, straight up. And not only that, I believe his greatest feat, me, man, is uh, uplift. He did that. He had a talk show.
You're breaking up,
And
bro.
I think that was the biggest thing he tried to unravel a lot of this craziness of the black. I'm gonna say of the black man. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. But yeah, he was definitely one of the goats of the '80s. Ain't no doubt about it. One of the faces of the '80s. And yeah, he's probably not one, but he is TV kids of all time. And it's just you see that now, when somebody passed away. But I'm gonna let you take over, brother. But yeah, it's a lot to unpack here.
Again, my condolences to the family, the friends, to the community. We lost us a good one. If y'all didn't get a chance to check out our stream that we did on Monday. Go check that one out. Amazing actor, great parent, overall good guy. Never heard a lot of drama. He was one of the smart ones. He didn't have all his personal business on the internet. I always respected that. I don't think that you should have all your most intimate dealings published for the world to see. Like, that's nah. We have enough hatred and bitterness in the world as it is. And nah, he was very meticulous and very proud with his life. I think more people should take notes of that. And on top of that, it kind of brings me to these videos that I'm going to play here in a second, because I don't know about you or anybody else, but there's this weird don't say it but say it type of a thing, where these black actors, rappers, etc., they end up passing away just randomly, and the next thing you know, we have folks who are saying, yeah, something is fishy about it. I don't think this was just natural cause. Oh, he just got caught in current and it was, just a unfortunate incident. People are in mixture saying something is off about this. He might have known some stuff that he was getting ready to speak on, or I think it's always connected to these specific group of people. So I'm gonna play all of them. I got 3 or 4 parts. I'm gonna play all of them in sequential order. We're gonna really unpack this one. The whole theory about there being this effort to eliminate our culture systematically. Is this connected to his death and others? Yeah, I'm gonna really do my best to try to make some points here and there. Like, these are just my opinions, of course, but I'm gonna bring this up on the screen. I'm gonna start letting these run. Let the people know that we are live. If y'all have any thoughts, any opinions at any point, it's going to show up on the screen. Appreciate the repost. Appreciate the mentions, all that. Thank you. Now let me get this up. I got this off of TikTok. TikTok and Instagram, they seem to have a lot of the most reliable information. Now, some of it be bullshit, but I'll let y'all be the judge. So let's get this first one playing, and I'm just going to run them all in succession. Hold on. Let's see. I might even swap out this. Put it like that. All right. Let's try this. See how this works.
Drowned, he was silenced. Moments before his shocking death, Malcolm Jamal Warner made a chilling call to someone close, saying he felt watched. And now, his mother, Pamela Warner, is finally breaking her silence. Was it really an accident? Or was this the result of a much darker conspiracy? What he knew could have destroyed powerful people. And now he's gone. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear has never been revealed before. The news of Malcolm Jamal Warner's sudden death sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry and left fans of The Cosby Show in utter disbelief. Official reports said it was a tragic drowning. But now, disturbing questions are surfacing. His grieving mother, Pamela Warner, isn't buying the official story, and neither should we. In this exclusive deep dive, we'll uncover the chilling timeline leading up to his death, the strange silence from key people close to him, and a string of mysterious warnings Malcolm reportedly gave just days before his final moments. Was Malcolm trying to expose something bigger than any of us imagined? You'll hear from friends, insiders, and even whispers from Hollywood elites. This story is messy, heartbreaking, and absolutely explosive. You won't believe who might be involved and what Malcolm may have discovered that could have cost him his life. So stay with me as we peel back the layers of this tragic tale, because this is where it gets interesting. He was healthy, focused, and finally at peace. That's how those close to Malcolm Jamal Warner described him just days before the tragedy. At 54, he was entering a new phase of life, producing behind the scenes, mentoring young actors, and even hinting at a major tell-all memoir that, according to one source, was set to shake up the industry. Despite staying largely private, Malcolm had been quietly working on multiple projects, and one of them, insiders say, was centered around exposing toxic behavior, manipulation, and abuse within the entertainment world. Some even claim it would have included previously unheard stories from his years on The Cosby Show. He was gathering information, said one longtime friend who asked to remain anonymous. He had files, receipts. He told me straight up, if anything happens to me, this wasn't an accident. But what changed? What shifted the energy from calm to chaotic? According to several close associates, Malcolm started expressing paranoia just 1 week before his death. He reportedly told his mother, Pamela Warner, that he felt like someone was following him. Another friend claimed he abruptly canceled 2 interviews, saying he needed time to get things in order, whatever that meant. Perhaps most chilling of all, a voicemail Malcolm allegedly left on a friend's phone just 48 hours before he was found dead. His voice was low, serious, and shaken. The message reportedly said, "Yo, something's wrong. I'm being watched. I don't know who to trust anymore. If something happens to me, it wasn't my doing. Don't let them tell you otherwise." Those close to him dismissed it at first. He didn't just drown, he was silenced. Moments before his shocking death, Malcolm Jamal Warner made a chilling call to someone close, saying, what were the last words he wrote in that journal found beside the water? And who was the last person to speak with him before the silence? The timeline of that day leaves a chilling silence between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., a window where no one saw him, no texts were sent, and no movement was detected around the lake house. Some believe he may have suffered a sudden medical event, like a seizure or fainting spell, while in the water. Others whisper that this may not have been an accident at all. Friends close to Malcolm describe him as deeply emotional, highly introspective, and in recent months, unusually quiet. He had reportedly been distancing himself from the Hollywood scene, rejecting scripts, and focusing instead on poetry and music, some of it described as dark and confessional. But the real mystery is what he may have carried with him into that water, a lifetime of pressure, pain, and public expectation, wrapped in the legacy of one of the most controversial shows in television history. For millions of Americans, The Cosby Show was more than a sitcom. It was a cultural revolution. A Black upper-middle-class family portrayed with humor, dignity, and love, an image that challenged stereotypes and changed perceptions. At the heart of that family was Theo Huxtable, the charming, often mischievous son of Cliff and Claire. And behind that character stood Malcolm Jamal Warner, a teenager thrust into the spotlight at just 14 years old. He wasn't just playing a role. He was becoming a symbol of Black boyhood in America, watched by tens of millions every week. The pressure to be perfect, polished, and inspiring didn't end when the cameras stopped rolling. It followed him into adulthood, quietly shaping every decision he made. In interviews over the years, Malcolm admitted he had a complicated relationship with fame. While he was grateful for the platform, he also spoke about feeling trapped, like his entire identity had been boxed into one role. I could never just be Malcolm. I was always Theo. Even at 40, and then came the collapse of Bill Cosby, a man Malcolm once called a mentor, a father figure, even America's dad. When Cosby was convicted in 2018 for sexual assault, it didn't just tarnish his name. It cracked the foundation of the show that launched Malcolm's career. Imagine carrying the weight of being part of something millions cherished, and then watching it be rebranded as toxic, controversial, even unforgivable. Malcolm was publicly quiet during the Cosby scandal, choosing his words carefully. He never outright defended Cosby, but he also didn't condemn him harshly. That silence drew criticism from some and empathy from others. But behind the scenes, friends say it took a massive toll on him emotionally. He was torn apart, said one colleague. He felt like he had lost a father figure and also couldn't grieve that loss openly without being misunderstood. The Cosby fallout affected more than just Malcolm's public image. Several projects he was attached to were shelved. Interviews dried up. There were whispers in casting rooms. Is he still tied to Cosby? Will there be backlash? It was as if Theo's shadow became a curse rather than a crown. Professionally, Malcolm began pivoting toward music, directing, and spoken word poetry, quieter forms of art where he had more control. He found solace in jazz, writing emotionally raw lyrics that often touched on identity, loss, and searching for peace. Some of those who worked with him said he often arrived on set or at studio sessions reflective and intense, occasionally withdrawing between takes to be alone. One producer recalled Malcolm pausing mid-recording, looking out the window and saying softly, "You ever feel like you peaked too early, and now the world is just waiting for you to disappear?" These were not just passing thoughts. They were signs of a deeper inner conflict. But it didn't stop there. Word is, it included interviews, legal documents, and first-hand accounts of what really goes on behind closed doors in the world of television royalty. One source close to the project revealed, Malcolm wasn't angry. He was focused. He wasn't trying to start drama. He wanted the truth out. He wanted to free people still trapped in the system. And here's where the dots start connecting. In recent years, the legacy of The Cosby Show has been deeply tarnished by the disturbing actions of Bill Cosby. While many cast members distanced themselves from the controversy, Malcolm remained relatively quiet until recently. A journalist who interviewed Malcolm in late 2024 says he hinted at a deeper darkness that hadn't yet come to light. He told me, "What people know is only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that people are afraid to say, but I'm not afraid anymore." And suddenly, he's gone? Now, let's talk about who might have had something to lose. Some fans and theorists believe the timing of his death wasn't random. Malcolm was reportedly preparing to speak at a private summit with whistleblowers from the entertainment industry, including at least one high-profile victim who was allegedly prepared to name names in a legal case involving a decades-old abuse ring. This summit was canceled shortly after Malcolm's death. And here's the twist. Documents have since gone missing from his storage unit, according to an anonymous employee. Hard drives were allegedly removed, files were wiped, and surveillance footage from that day conveniently malfunctioned. Coincidence or cover-up? Another insider, who claims to have seen early drafts of Malcolm's exposé, stated he was preparing to reference the manipulation of young black actors, exploitation within family sitcoms, and a high-level network executive who allegedly tried to silence him years ago when he first started speaking up about inequality. He knew too much, and he was getting too close, said the source. If this had gone public, it would have blown up people's careers. Big people. People with money, with reach, with connections. And that's when you have to stop and ask yourself, was Malcolm's death just an accident, or was it a warning to others? But hold on, it doesn't end there. For days following Malcolm Jamal Warner's sudden passing, fans waited. Waited for a statement, waited for clarity, waited for a reason to believe this wasn't as dark as it felt. But silence lingered until Pamela Warner, Malcolm's mother and fiercest protector, broke it with a message that left the public shaken. In a statement released through her family attorney, Pamela said, "My son did not die by accident. I do not accept the narrative being pushed. There are unanswered questions, and I will not stop until I have them." She added that she had seen injuries on Malcolm's body that didn't align with the official explanation and that she believed her son was being targeted for what he knew. And if you think that sounds like a grieving mother searching for meaning, think again. Because the people around her, they're saying the same thing. His cousin, his childhood best friend, even a former castmate, all of them have hinted at their disbelief. One friend, who asked not to be named, said, "Pamela is strong, but what she's dealing with, it's not grief, it's war." The funeral that didn't feel right. Malcolm's funeral was private. Very private. Only a small circle was allowed to attend, and media were completely shut out. But leaks from insiders describe the mood in one word: tense. "It didn't feel like a farewell," said one attendee. Something was being hidden. And here's where it gets truly bizarre. Just 2 days after the funeral, someone reportedly broke into Malcolm's former Los Angeles apartment. But it didn't stop there. Word is, it included interviews, legal documents, and firsthand. "They were looking for something," she allegedly told a friend. "They don't want his story told." And then came the threats. People close to the family began receiving anonymous messages, strange phone calls, emails from untraceable domains, even burner accounts sliding into DMs of known friends and associates with one chilling message: "Drop it. Let him rest. Don't dig too deep." What is going on here? Was someone truly trying to bury Malcolm's legacy? Or are we looking at a powerful institution covering its tracks? And yet, Pamela hasn't backed down. She's reportedly hired a private investigation team with ties to former federal agents. She's reopened communication with journalists Malcolm trusted, and she's said to be in possession of a digital archive her son left behind, including password-protected documents he told her never to open unless something happened to him. Sources claim she has not opened them yet, but plans to, and publicly. Could the truth be inside, or will we ever really know what Malcolm was about to expose? One might expect an outpouring of love and tribute following the death of a beloved television star, especially one as iconic as Malcolm Jamal Warner. After all, his portrayal of Theo Huxtable wasn't just a role, it was part of the cultural fabric of America for decades. He helped define a generation of young black men on television, but strangely, that tribute never really came. Yes, there were a few generic statements, a short Instagram post here, a 2-line tweet there, but noticeably missing? Major tributes from high-level Hollywood figures and networks that once built careers off The Cosby Show's legacy. One fan commented, "Why is no one talking about Malcolm? No tribute shows, no specials. not even a proper send-off by the studio that made him a star, something isn't right. And that silence, it's louder than any eulogy, a list of who's staying silent and why that matters. Several key figures who worked with Malcolm, including former castmates, directors, and producers, have refused to comment publicly. Sources suggest some were advised by legal teams to avoid engaging, while others simply ghosted the press. But why? What are they afraid of? One entertainment journalist who has covered the industry for over 20 years said, "This reminds me of what happens when there's a larger power at play. You can feel the fear. People want to say something, but they're scared to be next." According to leaked DMs and forum chatter, at least 2 actors, both of whom worked on The Cosby Show, were preparing to appear in interviews until they backed out at the last minute with no explanation. One allegedly told a friend, "I can't risk it. I have a family." What does that tell you? That this may be much bigger than Malcolm. The public backlash begins fans have not stayed silent. In fact, they've gotten louder. Hashtags like Starker Justice for Malcolm, Accra Investigate Malcolm Warner, and Baguder Protect Pamela Warner have been trending on Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit for days. Creators across platforms have launched mini documentaries, TikTok threads, and expose breakdowns, many questioning the official story and calling out mainstream media for barely covering his death. One viral video with over 3 million views asked, "How does someone with 3 decades of cultural impact get less coverage than a reality star's scandal? Are we really supposed to believe this wasn't intentional?" Fans are now calling for an independent investigation, and several petitions are circulating online demanding the LAPD reopen the case, citing Pamela Warner's private autopsy results and the missing toxicology report. And then came the whispers. Behind the scenes, things are shifting. They were looking for something.
That's it. That's all of it. I wanted to play it all the way through, so everybody got a chance to hear it for themselves, draw your own conclusions. I'm not telling you to believe it, but what I am offering is a different perspective of how the world is looking at this situation. What are your thoughts? I mean, you had a chance to hear it. I don't know how much you buy into the conspiracy aspect of it, if you do or don't, but based on what you heard, what's your thoughts? What's your view on it?
Well, first I'm gonna say, first thing I would like to say is it's been a rough week. Let me put that on the damn table. It's been a hell of a week, real rough. Rough on a lot of people's childhoods. They say death come in 3, and we got 3. Theo was considered the first one. Then we had Ozzy 2 days later, and then we had the immortal one, Thursday, the Hulkster. And looking at it from that scope, bro, it's a lot to take in. And you did play that video. That video was mighty lengthy. It was real lengthy. It's a lot of information to process. But it's the way I see it, it ain't no different than what I mentioned before. The goalpost gets moved. What I mean by the goalpost is the story always get changed, doesn't it? Anybody that been covering what happened to Malcolm Jamal Warner at Costa Rica since Sunday, it's Saturday now. That's 6 days. There's no way you can tell me that everything sound the same. Once you get a version and the second version and the third version, you start putting it together like, yeah, it sounds like some bullshit. You know, it kind of sounds like some bullshit what happened to Malcolm. It don't ring clearly. It's not It's not being covered the same. It's not the importance is. I feel the change in the importance of what happened. And when you look at it, like that, bro, it make a lot of damn sense. I mean, for one, the man was on the #1 TV show in America, bro. I mean, it haven't been a show in the past or present that's over the Cosby Show. That show is goated. Period. And one of the reasons why that show is goated is because of who we talking about today. Malcolm Jamal Warner. Theo. See, if you look at the show, the man had 4 sisters. 4. And he was the only male, only boy. You know how much pressure that is? That's pressure. You the only boy kid that they got. You always on the show. He lived his life with that big example. That's why it affected a whole generation. That's why it affected his peers and everybody that looked up, because we watched that image for decades. The image that he had, that example that he lived by. Like you mentioned before, that brother didn't put all his business on social media. Why? Because he understood it. Let's start right here with Theo. Let's go to his name real quick. The man is named Malcolm, after Malcolm X. Come on. His mother named him after Malcolm X. So let's start right there. So even before he even started acting, he always had a passion for what he was doing. Speaking out on racial issues and injustice and things of that matter. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to free his people. That's what he was trying to do with his words, with his thinking, with his methods, with his consistency. That's what he really wanted, bro. And to know that he knew somebody was going against the grain with that, he had to get that message out there. Because the reality is, once you was on a path like Malcolm Jamal Warner, you are powerful, you are a threat, and they always say, the more you know. They always say that, they always put that out there, the more you know. And what I mean by that is, education is powerful. This brother is a student of the game. No doubt about it. From the rooter to the tutor, he died at 54 years old. But look how much knowledge that Malcolm Jamal Warner absorbed through his childhood years, being on that show, portraying that character, living that life, that fame, also taking that character and morphing it into what he wanted to be in his life, and taking the backlash of the show itself. The man was a student. He learned a lot from Bill Cosby. The man come from a 2-parent household. Always had passion for what he did. And for many of us, that's why we don't understand why he's not getting his true icon respect. Why? Man, an icon, bro. And by him not getting this respect that he paved the way for a lot of young actors, and he's not getting his props like he's supposed to. His story, his coverage, with him being in Costa Rica, with him being associated with an accidental. It was what they say is an accidental drowning. That's a red flag. That was a red flag. When I heard the word accident, didn't I tell you many episodes of before when we covered these type of stories? What did I tell you? You always hear the word accident. That's called red flag work. That's called bullshit. You don't all that accident and it's always a mistake. You know, I thought he had a weapon and all that. It's too what I say is too many mistakes. And this is just another example of it with one of the greatest black actors of all time, hands down, because he cared about being that. His consistency personified, bro. And not only do he deserve his flowers, Malcolm Jamal Warner deserved his justice. And once I heard that damn story change the way it did, yeah, my antennas went up like a motherfucker. You got it.
Look at it like this, man. You got somebody who is raised with morals, with standards, someone who is upright, someone who does not operate under the same pretenses as a lot of human beings, the social norms. Just paint a picture. All the knowledge in the world is right at our fingertips. If we really truly want to know an answer to something, it is readily available. But it all depends on your desire for that knowledge and what you're willing to do to obtain it. He's one of those people who might have had a certain type of upbringing, but it didn't stop him from seeking specific direction. The Cosby Show represented something that I don't think a lot of black people ever believed existed. Shout out to Nightwalk. Culturally, that show provided us with hope. It showed you that black people can actually live cohesively under the same roof. That there is a such thing as having a husband and a wife working together without there being social media standing in the way of their guidance, their leadership. Femininity and masculinity wasn't a issue. That show showed you what to identify the enemy as. It showed you how to chastise with love. There was messages within the show that even though you might say, oh, well, it's all scripted, it didn't really make a difference if it was scripted or not. the fact remained that the way that everyone on that show conducted themselves as black men and women, I aspired to it. I think a lot of people aspire to it. The outside culture, I'm not going to say a specific, the people on the outside, the translucents, they looked at that show and shows similar to it, which was very far in between. They looked at those shows as a threat. This is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because we know African Americans are truly intellectual. They are athletic. They age, but it don't look like they age. They've had their own land, their own communities, their own cities. They've built and proved that they've been capable of doing things without us. This is too much positivity. Way too much. And I say all that to say that I agree with a lot of what you brought up with these coincidences. How the fuck are all of them coincidences? And then on top of that, they shut these cases like, damn, did I even really put that much effort in it? I guess if you're looking at it from two different perspectives, who would really question drowning? Right? People drown. It happens. So why would you really be like, I don't know. I mean, the tides, the current, all that does play a factor in a lot of drownings. I get that. But let's think about this. We had two twins that drowned, but we later found out that they try to say that one shot the other one. And it's like, all right, Malcolm Jamal Warner is in a space where none of us really are. He's back behind the scenes. He's working with these actors. He's doing business with these people. He knows them intimately. He has the connections and the ability to have community and conversations with folks that have experienced things that we never have. We only speculate on. How is it impossible to even consider the fact that he knew some things and he was ready to get his information out there to the public? I yield the mic.
Now, going back to this situation, man. You did bring up the two kids that drowned. It was another incident where two kids, two brothers, was traveling and they found their bodies on a mountain and all that. So I mean, what's the one thing that all of them have in common? It's the information piece. When when something like that happens, we don't get the same respect. We don't get the same coverage. The goalpost continues to move. It's almost like it's a mystery, and then it's swept under the rug and supposedly be forgotten. Don't bring it up no more. It's over, done with. Keep living your life. That's it. That's the type of feel that going on with Malcolm Jamal Warner, man. Now the difference with him is what he's a celebrity icon. He was on the show, the show, and when you get all those views and all that coverage and all of that publicity, especially in that time span when it happened, they say that show aired from '84 to '92. So literally, we really was born and grew up with the Cosby Show. He was considered, TV's big brother. That's what he was considered, and he led by example. So what I'm trying to get to when it comes to his situation is that why we couldn't get the same amount of coverage and respect if it was a white actor. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't the same. And then you got to look at when you look at the news, you got to look at who's covering this stuff. You got to look at who's speaking on it. Because if you first heard it, like myself, it says that Malcolm Jamal Warner have died accidentally from a current at Costa Rica that took him out. And I mean, of course, everybody's in shock. Okay, it caught him, but you told us that, but then you don't elaborate. That's where the anger and the confusion come in at. There's no elaborate. You don't go in and care enough about the man to find out what caused that. You think that man was on some suicide stuff? Because that's what kind of came out a little bit like, dang, did he do this to himself? Why would he do this to himself? Then we say, okay, they on their family vacation. All right, he's in Costa Rica with his family. So now you go from that to he was out there swimming with his daughter. I say, why you didn't tell me that the first time? Where was his daughter at the first time? So now you bring his daughter into it. Now his daughter was caught in the current with him. It says first responders, lifeguards rescued his daughter, brought her back to shore. But they couldn't save Malcolm Jamal Warner, the father. So that's another story. Then I'm hearing there ain't no lifeguards at all. So I'm like, why? You see what I'm saying? Why is the goalpost? You got to keep moving. Why can't y'all just? It's a simple thing. The man passed away. Why y'all got to keep adding things, taking stuff away? Like, if it was the truth, why you just can't stick to one story? Normally, when somebody's bullshitting people, they don't stick to one story. That's how you know it smells like bullshit. They always add something or take something away or switch this up, that up. So saying all of that, now it got people from the community who Malcolm Jamal Warner represented proudly to look a little further deep into it. Maybe it's some shady stuff at this point. Stuff looking a little fishy. It's looking foggy. Like what really happened. And when you can't stick to your story, good people, it make you go in war. Now we want to get to the bottom line, all of it, and that's what's going on now. The mom spoke on the video. She say Malcolm Jamal Warner, he had bruises and stuff. How come he was able to save his daughter and didn't save him? Then it was said that they performed CPR on him for 45 minutes, couldn't bring him back. He was lifeless. Then it said somebody, another lifeguard that was out there, or somebody out in the current with him, they was in critical condition. Like this shit happened in the span of 4 or 5 days. Something kept changing. And then to cover y'all tracks, y'all want to get some damn report on there talking about we got these signs right here. It says in danger of a current. You know, be careful of the current and all that in Costa Rica. Like they got all these signs to try to cover their tracks up of the possible foul play. So now it got me thinking. When you go back to the Cosby Show, and we watched it, eight seasons. We literally watched Theo Huxtable grow up. That's 14. Well, he's 14 all the way to 22 years old. Grown man at that point. When you look back, like you mentioned it already, but when you look back on that span of his career with the Cosby Show, that's what got him all the other opportunities that he was trying to do. Doors open like a mud for Theo because of the way he treated his fame and his stardom on that show. He knew the value of his character. He knew the importance of it. Bill Cosby had 5 kids, right? On that show. Breaking it down into terms, you can probably think of something of all of those girls, all them girls did personally, but you can't think of that on Malcolm Jamal Warner. From Rudy, Vanessa, all of them, definitely Denise, all of them fucked up. All of them did something fucked up except for him. And you had the publicity while you was growing that show. So what he was describing is that he had to live with that out once the show ended. He had to take that image and it stuck with him from all the success that they had from that show. So he said it. People gonna always say that I'm Theo because how I represented the black boy in the 80s. So that was his print, bro. And people wasn't ready to deal with that. People wasn't ready to look at us that way, and that's what he represented.
Image is everything. I don't care what nobody say. It's once you get stereotyped and they put something on you, it's hard to get rid of that. It really is positive, negative. They especially hit that positive. If you positive like he was, folks go out of their way to throw mud on your name. It's really sad, especially when it comes from your own people. Everybody outside of him on that show, for the majority, after the Cosby Show went off air and everything, everybody had drama, controversy with him. It was always something. Now, Tempest Bledsoe, she wasn't as bad. She did have a talk show. I don't know how much she got into after that, but if you think that you don't have any type of impact on a community of people, why don't you try telling Bill Cosby that? Why don't you try telling Felicia Rashad that, or Bill Cosby? I mean, not Bill Cosby, but Denise or any of them. After that show, I always looked at him like that. I always thought he was Theo. The way they wrote the script for them, it was like, damn, nobody else could have played Theo. Nobody else could have played Heathcliff. Imagine trying to swap out Claire Huxtable like they did Vivian on Fresh Prince. It's not happening. And I think, like I said, when you have black men and women who represent the black culture completely different than what you're used to seeing, what you're used to seeing is Sexy Red and Travis Scott and people that's constantly rolling blunts and all that. They were on something completely different. And the world wasn't used to seeing it. Well, at least they didn't want no one to see it. And that's why when we had this conversation earlier this week, we talked about how I don't think it's ever going to be that again. I don't think you're ever going to get that type of programming ever again on TV. What the Fresh Prince did, what Family Matters did, what Good Times did, what the Cosby Show did, it won't be replicated. And I guarantee you, they will never allow another TV show to air on network television like those. They've tried, but it never got very far. Was there foul play here? It's possible. I don't trust it. At this point, I don't really trust a lot of humans, especially the translucents. I don't trust my people, but I definitely don't trust them. Jealousy, envy, greed, gluttony, the desire and the lust that people require to maintain a level of success and control, it consumes people, man. It really takes over their spirit. It changes your personality. The lengths that people are willing to go to shut another person up so that you don't get exposed for being a criminal, it has no bearings on it whatsoever. People are willing to risk their freedom for it. And so I bring this to the audience. I bring this to the world. I bring this discussion to the viewers in the building, to Desperado here, to anyone who eventually will watch this stream later on. What do you do with this information? What do you do with this unease? I don't know if I really believe them or not. What do you do with that? How do you go to sleep, wake up tomorrow, go to work, wondering whether or not this was an accident or conspiracy, a setup? Do you just live with yourself? That brother wasn't out here doing what Charleston White is doing. He wasn't out here trying to sabotage and set his people up for failure. So for him to go out the way he did, I just can't really eat that for real. You got it. You wanted to say something?
Oh, no, I didn't know I was muted. You can continue with your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, I'm just asking the question to the general public. I mean, I know a lot of people don't really care. You're gonna go on about your life, But to me, it's like the good people keep getting taken away, while the miserable, bitter, broken are allowed to keep fucking us over, making us look bad and shit. And it's like, well, when is not enough enough? I said this in a video, a short that I did. I'm like, man, I'm about to just get on y'all fucking nerve. I'm just gonna post every day and talk my shit and call that bullshit out, because I'm getting tired of us making people famous that shouldn't be famous. I'm getting tired of us acting as if this shit is cool and it's okay and I'm supposed to be accepting of it. Nah, man, that brother didn't deserve to lose his life the way he did. I don't definitively believe whether or not this was an accident or not. I don't. The black culture should aspire to be Theo. The women should aspire to be Claire Huxtable. You don't have to be them specifically. You can have your own spice. But we should be motivated by him. Motivated by the example that he put out there. You're not too old to take lessons from someone. I don't know. I start seeing these videos pop up about, oh, I don't think he was in a situation where the water just took over him. People talking these numerology, this, that book. I don't do the number shit, but he's like, well, he's 2005, and then he was connected to older. I don't do all that. I just look at patterns. I'm noticing this past year, it was 7 months in. How many black people have been hung, shot, drowned? I'm not talking about the ignorant ass niggas in these neighborhoods that's killing each other. I'm talking about the ones who wasn't even involved in any of that shit, and they getting taken out. Shit is crazy, man. So again, my question to the people: what's next? How do y'all proceed moving forward? How do you honor his name, or do you even take that into consideration when you close your eyes tonight and wake up tomorrow? So I don't think he lived the way he did just to see the black culture just go to shit. I yield the mic.
Yeah, I don't think he did either, man. I think that's what he stood for. He stood on all 10 toes for the culture. He put down for the culture. He even mentioned it on his podcast, talking about the rap culture, the rap. You know how when he came up, we people used to rap. That generation used to rap about what they went through in the culture and stuff like that, stuff that they had to deal with. They rapped about the struggle and all of that, and now they glorify it. So it's not they're not rapping to make a change. They're rapping to keep to stay the same, and they're losing their life early with it too. So I'm gonna bring this to your attention with Theo. When all that hell went down with Bill Cosby, because I know you brought it up several times before about his personal uh, his personal matters, how he got in trouble and he went to jail and all of this. When all of that went down, and it came down on him real hard, Theo stood on all 10. Theo rolled for Bill Cosby. He ain't abandoned ship. He ain't abandoned him. He believed in the man. Bill Cosby said, and I quote, that when he heard that news about Malcolm Jamal Warner, it was like him losing his real life son. It was the same way he lost his son. That was his TV son, and then he lost his real life son. So it hit him hard because he knew what the brother represented. Now, going back to that incident with Bill Cosby, I know you heard Bill Cosby with the success of the Cosby Show that it had in the mid '80s and the early '90s. With the extension that he did from the show, he branched off and did The Different World. That was another cultural show that came from the Cosby. And with all the success he had, they was talking about him buying the NBC network. So to touch on what you said earlier, a little bit before, the answer is no. Just like you said, no, they're not going to let a family look like that on television again. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen again. Probably in a long, long time. And I think people even questioning why did they even let his family, the Huxtables, look so, look damn near perfect. Like the image of it. Like you said, look, I ain't going to say perfect because, they showed their flaws on the show. But like you said, look functional. It was function. It's always a dysfunction when it comes to the black people culture. We are always painted in a negative light. We come from broken homes. We get caught up in the system. We sell drugs. We get indulged in violence. You know what I'm saying? There's always something negative. But once that came out, going back to Theo, he had that jewel. Theo had that jewel, bro. He had that jewel that he got from the Cosby Show to crack the code on black culture, bro. That's what he was trying to do on that podcast. He was talking about cracking that code, bro. Flipping the switch. And I talked about it before. Knowledge is power, bro. And knowledge is a threat. The more you know. Once you know how to do it, he had a target on his back. You actually think they was gonna let Bill Cosby own NBC? He don't own it, do he? You see what I'm saying? Look what's going on with Tyler Perry. Ain't he trying to own Netflix? Don't he hire his people and pay his black actors more? It's a trend, and that's why I say when it come to people moving this goalpost all the time, when it's on the other shoe, when the shoe is on the other foot, and it's the other way around, like what happened to Malcolm Jamal Warner. It don't be the same. We don't get the same justice. We don't get the same details. We don't get the truth. So Malcolm Jamal Warner had a target because of his reputation. One, his reputation for being Theo, for playing Theo on that show. They didn't like that. Let's put that on the damn table. They didn't like him playing Theo. And not only that, how he carried himself after the show, the representation he carried. It was a lot, like you said, it was a lot of jealousy. I believe he did stuff in Hollywood. We all spoke on situations that go down in Hollywood. He kind of shunned away from that because of the knowledge that he had. He stayed positive. He stayed for that example. He did other projects and stuff in the Hollywood world, but he never was amongst them. He sheltered his family. You didn't even know what the brother wife looked like, or his daughter, damn near, because he kept that low key. He understood it, bro. He was cracking the code. Once you start cracking the code, they don't like that. They can't stand you. They want you to be like everybody else. They want you to fall under the same tutelage like everybody else and don't have that knowledge. They don't want you to break that barrier. Malcolm Jamal Warner was breaking that glass ceiling. And that was paying their ass up. That's what was going on. And because he was breaking that barrier, because he was doing it with grace, because you couldn't get no damn dirt on his name, because you couldn't run him down like mud, like you did everybody else, but you couldn't do it to him. We had to get him. Why? Because, like I said before, anything that you do, especially when it has some success attached to it, you see what I'm saying? When it has success attached to your idea, your hard work, what happens? It happens everything. It happened with Tyler Perry. You saw the scandal with Tyler Perry about he getting sued. It happens every time. You can do good, but they don't want you to get large, bro. And that's the thing. If you get large, you gotta give me a piece of that. And if you don't give me a piece of that, then we're gonna take that. And that's real all day, every day. And if you need more examples outside of Malcolm Jamal Warner, we can run them down. Malcolm Jamal Warner left the kid image that's impressionable, that's going to last forever and ever. It's been a lot of kid actors that got a rack of blood. This man left with no blemishes.
Do they got the what's the name for the expeditions? What? Do they got the fanatic with the things in the back? Hey,
and they heard all of that, bro. He left with no blemishes. So with that being said, bro, let that sink in. Malcolm Jamal Warner had a target. He was a target because of what he knew, what he understood. He knew how to crack the code, and he had no blemishes. Then they wanted to put a stain on that man, badly. Think about anybody else that was successful. Same issue, same deal. I want you trying to escape being scathed, and I'm trying to put this mark on you to let you know that no matter how much an example you was to your community, no matter how much you stood up on that stage and you preached and you was a straight up poet and you was breaking down all the issues, the important issues that we going through right now, trying to crack the code, trying to tell them which way to go, all that leadership, you still gonna be beneath us. They only come for, I'm gonna tell you something, they don't never mess with the good ones. They only come for the great ones. Malcolm Jamal Warner was great for a long time. Let that sink in. I'm gonna say it one more time. They don't never come for the good ones. They only come for the great ones. Theo was a great one. That's why the shit hurt so much. Because he was Mr. Positivity. He was Mr. Example. If you ever want to know how to get out of something, watch what Theo did on the Cosby's. Watch how he broke it down. Watch how he maneuvered. Watch how responsible he was. He was responsible. He was a good ass friend, a good ass son, good brother. And we watched that. And now it's gone. And the saddest part is that he was able to save his daughter. Why would all that happen on a vacation trip? I mean, I hear stuff about before he went to the Costa Rica, they was talking about the weather and stuff like that, and how he was kind of up in the air about him going. But you hear all this stuff about it after the fact. The fact should have been put on the table from the beginning, and that's why I'm gonna go with that is bullshit. Will we get our justice? I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say it's gonna be some justice, but the problem I'm gonna still have, even though we get the justice, even though when we get the justice, why do it gotta take 100 years for us to get one thing right to go our way? But like you said before, if it's the other side, it's open and shut case, it's over with. You get it right then and there. You want yours right then and there. Look what's going on with Carmelo and Austin. I want mine now. I'm not waiting. You give me mine when I want it. But we gotta wait. That's the goalpost that I keep talking about. That keep moving. So let's let that sink in. They don't come for the good ones. They come for the great ones.
So what people need to understand in regards to your last remark is, I've come to the point to where everything just ain't our battle. It's frustrating knowing that good people are being taken, and then the individuals responsible for executing these tragedies seem to flourish. It hurts. It makes you lose faith in the system. It makes you look at yourself differently. It makes you look at the people around you differently. It makes you look at society differently. It makes you uglier if you allow it to, because there's a different perspective to it. See, while people are doing ugly things to beautiful souls, you got to understand that those beautiful souls belong to a higher power, and that higher power observes and sees everything that you do. Whether or not justice comes today or 20 years later, it's going to be just. It's going to be exactly what you deserve. So it really doesn't make a difference if in the flesh you receive your just due. Eventually it's going to show up for you. The beautiful thing about what happens here is that there are other creators of the melanin that move just like he does, who speaks and walks as graceful. It's everywhere. It's readily available. Name a platform. There is at least one or two black men or black women that you can think of on every platform that has the same light on them that he did. And they saw this and they've witnessed the tragedies and the hardships and the disrespect. And they've spoken on it. I don't know all of them. I know they're out there. I know they exist because I've come across a few. And what happens with his tragedy, all it did was spark more attention and it put more eyes on these creators who want nothing more than to wake the black community up and see them do better. Escape the matrix, form a fist instead of an open palm, and do better. It's motivation. It's pain, but it's also motivation. Because now it's like, oh, y'all really out to get us. It's not me I should be worried about. It's you and them. Actually, it's you against the world, technically. But if two or more are together, you can do a lot. And I think a lot of people who felt the pain and the hurt of his passing, they're going to want to support other black creators and black artists. They're going to want to stand behind people who are actually trying to be about something positive. They're looking for not a replica of him, but they're looking for other men and women who have similar beliefs and ideals. That part I humbly, truly believe is going to help us. But it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Of all people, that's before I heard that on the news, he wasn't even someone that I was even considering being next up to be on that list. If I had to, I'm not even going to do that. I just never thought that Theo was going to be the one that was going to get called home. Not in a million years. He was the last person I considered. I wasn't even thinking about that man until then. Because as far as I was concerned, he just stayed off of the radar. He minded his business and lived his life. And that's the best way to do it. Keep your family private. Don't be posting all of that shit on the internet. Just enjoy your life. You put the work in. Nobody else needs to see that. Real shit.
Mr. Stay Out the Way, Theo. He knew how to stay out the way, man. He was a master of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they was like, man, they was like he was a target, man, from that show. I believe, man. They had some issues with Bill Cosby, and You know, they probably had a little animosity with Theo for siding with him. You know, and let me also say this: it was definitely jealousy. And Theo, out of all the characters that was on that show, you know, Theo was the one. He maintained that mystique of Theo Huxtable. He carried that with him through his career. So that's why it was a tough L for anybody that came up watching the Cosby Show. Um, that man, that brother was a kid, man. He was a kid. He grew up in the spotlight, and like I said before, there ain't gonna never be another show like it because they're not gonna allow it a juggernaut of a show to get that big. It's not gonna be allowed because of what we're talking about, because of the positivity and the inspiration and all of that that comes from it, the example. So they're not gonna let that show was going on that long. They're not gonna let another show get that big and be long running like that. And then you gotta have the characters. You gotta keep everybody on the show. You said it. You said it again. You said you couldn't. You couldn't bring another Clay Huxtable onto that Cosby Show and would have been the same. Hell no. Now Clay had a mystique with her too as the mother, and it just seemed like everybody had a lot of chemistry to get the ratings up, and they was able to add more pieces to the show and even kind of helped jumpstart Living Single. It was like other shows. If people pay attention, it was other shows in the '90s that shot off because of what happened in the '80s with the Cosby Show. So they responsible for a lot of stuff that happened. And Theo was a big part of that. He really carried the wagon, bro. And you gotta salute that brother. He carried the wagon for a long, long time. Not just for the Cosby Show, but for the black culture in general. He wanted to see the change, and that's what he was about. His music. If you ever heard his music, you'll see it. You will hear it with that. He was a great musician. Great poet. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the stuff that he was associated with, man. It wasn't law, it wasn't rah-rah. He was just trying to bring light and a peace to change. And he was doing it in his own way. And he used his celebrity to um to create more positivity around him. That was all he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to be loud with it. He wasn't one of these people that drop his fame like, yeah, you know me, I'm Theo Huxley. He wasn't none of that. He didn't use his fame like that. And that's another great thing about him. He said he wanted to be known as a great person. You know what I'm saying? That was his main thing. And that's why when we talking about this today, why do bad things happen to great people? Why can't great people get their justice and prevail? You see what I'm saying? So just be careful with success, man. It happened with basketball players, football players, everybody that's going on now. Once you reach the tippity top of your profession or what you like to do, um, you got to look out. You got to look out because that stuff surfaces back up. You can't. It's like you can't do anything on your own without somebody being involved or without somebody having a hand in the cookie jar. see what I'm saying?
I muted. My bad. I hear you. I don't mean to change the subject, but I gotta show you this shit, bro. Yo,
Cool,
what
we
what
gonna
what's wrong? What's wrong with y'all, man? Like y'all niggas be tripping. This man ain't been dead for 24 hours. Y'all don't be playing the. I'm about to show you. I've muted the music because I don't want no copyright strike. But y'all be violating something terrible. This shit is disrespectful as hell. I understand people are angry and y'all don't like this shit that Hogan was doing on the side, but like this, I don't even want to laugh at this shit, but it's like it's fucked up. But like my dark humor won't allow me not to grin a little bit. But the shit is foul, bro. Hold on, let me pull this shit up real quick, man. Hold on. Why y'all do this
probably
shit,
something
man?
I didn't say.
I don't. You might have. I don't know. This shit is foul though. Hold up.
Yeah, I seen that.
Come on, man. Why would y'all do this shit?
It was one worse than that. Let me see if we can go all the way through. I think is this it?
Come on, bro. Like, why, man? Why would y'all do that, man? Come on, man. Like,
Yeah, I seen one worse than that though. I can show it to you. I seen one worse than that, but now that we changing the subject, we can. And we talk about it a lot. Like we can talk about it what we were just saying, but Theo didn't really have no outside blemishes in his personal life that I knew of. I mean, he had long term relationships here and there, but outside of that, I didn't hear nothing negative on him. But we live in a world where you're not going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. Let's start right there. But what we're saying with this individual that you just put on the screen, sir, that specific individual, Hulk Hogan, we're not gonna get on here and we're not gonna hold him for just that incident. Because I mean, he went through a lot more than he's racist and whatever somebody trying to put on his name. It was more to what he went through. So we're not going to just base everything off that one thing in his personal life. We supposed to celebrate what he meant in his sport and what he did for the company, the world of wrestling. Yeah, that was a huge loss, bro. But probably at this point, that's the greatest loss probably of all time, bro, because of what he meant for the sport and what he did. And we need to give him his flowers instead of pointing out racist shit like that. Because before all that racist shit that people want to make these memes and all that, once the man passed away, before all of that happened, all of the motherfuckers that be doing that cornball shit after the man then passed, y'all was in them damn stands and seats and on them televisions just like I was, and screaming your lungs out for this man being a Hulkamaniac that he had all over the world. So we gonna put that on the table. Let's put that on there because none of that shit happened before social media. Let's stand on that. And secondly, shoot, he been in the ring with black people such as Muhammad Ali, Mr. T, Shaquille O'Neal, Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone. He been in the ring with and associated itself with a lot of culture icons that's African American. So we're not going to do that. And you need to give him his flowers. The dude is to me, he's the biggest titan in the sport. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, it would not be 41 WrestleManias. We put that on the table. He's the immortal one. He's the reason why we got Raw and SmackDown, all the networks and all of that we watch. He the one transformed all of that so we can watch it every week. He did all that. He was the main face that did it. And without him, we wouldn't be watching all this shit. Without that star, he was what he was the biggest star at the most important in wrestling. That's what he represents. He took it from the old days that what it was, and he brung and created sports entertainment with Vince McMahon. It wasn't no before Hulk Hogan. It wasn't no such thing as sports entertainment. You didn't have gimmicks and characters and shit. Hulk Hogan is responsible for all of these gimmicks. Everybody that's trying to emulate this person, that Hulk Hogan did that. Ain't nobody have a true gimmick that was worldwide. He brought all that to mainstream, and that's his credit to the sport. And you got to give him that. What people do personally, you can talk about it. You can say it happened. It can be rumors, but it still doesn't change what the man accomplished. Love him or hate him. That's the facts. That's the type of post that I read since this happened, and that's what I've seen. You cannot erase the unraceable, man. You can't erase him ever from the sport because what he did. You see what I'm saying? People just kept on coming after him. He the one. He the one. Also, was the first superstar that went mainstream and did movies and all of that. That's what changed the whole landscape of wrestling to what we look at today because of him. That stuff was forbidden before Hulk Hogan did it. It wasn't no Bruno, anybody that came before Hulk. None of them did that. All they did was wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. Because we talked about it last week with Reese and Caitlin Clark. You can't have no other interest. Basketball should be your only interest. Hulk Hogan was the first. Hulk Hogan was the first wrestler to change that in the history of wrestling. He was the first person that was allowed to do what was the movie? Rocky 3. That's what changed everything. Then he did No Holds Barred and all that with if you remember Big Debo, Big Zeus. He did all that. Before him, ain't no wrestler was never able to do any projects outside of a squared circle. Hulk Hogan changed all of that when he did it. That's why The Rock did it, the Cenas, or anybody that came after him. That's why they did it because of what Hulk Hogan did. The man is the biggest titan of the sport, and he needed his flowers just like everybody that passed away before him needed their flowers. Jimmy Snooker had something personal that he did, but you still gotta recognize the work that they did. You know what I'm saying? In a career field, bro, and I think that's where the disrespect get outrageous, and I just think it's something wrong with this generation disrespecting like especially the younger generation. They disrespecting something that they never even seen because of the social media wasn't even invented back then. So growing up just like you, shoot, Hulk Hogan was the biggest thing that ever come down wrestling's pipe, and it ain't never gonna be done again. It ain't never been done again, and it ain't never gonna happen again.
I don't think nobody outside of him, of course you got that rattlesnake Stone Cold, but outside of him, ain't nobody gonna eclipse or be as big as what he did for the sport, bro. It's not gonna happen.
I already spoke my piece on this whole thing. We did, like hour and a half or something like that on it. I my issue my issue in general is just, and I made a short on this one as well. Humans are full of shit because everybody up here done lied, done cheated on somebody, done stole from somebody, done called somebody the N word. Y'all done all done did some foul shit that y'all wanted mercy for, that y'all wanted forgiveness for. So my thing is, well, what makes you any more special than he was? He was just a human being too. He got his relationship right with the creator before he passed. And if God sees it fit to forgive him for how he was, who are we to say anything? But y'all be out here crashing out, like literally crashing out. Y'all threaten a woman wrestler. That lady done shut down her social media and all that shit because y'all sending her death threats over Hulk Hogan because she gave that man flowers. But y'all still walking around here with bodies, walking the street. Y'all murderers and all type of shit. Nobody snitched on you, letting y'all roam free. Y'all done slept with niggas' husbands and wives and shit. Y'all done did some shit. Y'all want forgiveness for. But see the difference is don't nobody know about y'all dirt. Otherwise, you'd be getting crucified too. So my thing is, get that man his flowers for what he accomplished, and stop acting like you're the judge and executioner. You're not. That's not your place. That's all I really got to say on that. And in terms of everything else, Malcolm Jamal Warner, he did exactly what he came to this planet to do. I'm grateful that I got to watch him grow. Well, shit, he was already here before I was, so technically, he would have been watching me grow. Because I was just being born when he was already doing his thing. So really, salutes to him, blessings to him. I'm grateful for the Cosby Show. I hate the toxicity that's out here. I'm tired of seeing twerking. I'm tired of seeing everything be about guns, drugs, and all. I'm tired of seeing that shit. Let's get more positivity back on these streams. And yeah, I would love to work with a lot of these other black creators, man, that's doing real positive things. If it's within the will of God to do so, I'm definitely open to it. I have nothing else to say. I just wanted to give my thoughts on this conspiracy thing, whether or not we think that people are just executing black people because they fear the strength and the potential that we have to rebuild and go on stronger, or if it's just a freak of nature, So, if you got any final words, thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I sure do. I'm gonna leave you with this. I mean, I heard you speak about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a huge thing. I think we all deserve some forgiveness at some point in our life. And when it comes to forgiveness, since we are going off topic a little bit here, I just wanted to bring up that Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson issue, man, because Megan did some foul stuff in her day. Let me say that Megan Thee Stallion did some cruddy stuff. Um, I heard you bring up that she lied and all of that, and she with Klay Thompson, she with a baller, and she's attempting to recreate herself, so to speak, or try to start a life over with this new profound love that she found. And I just think forgiveness need to be in the air, and when the time is right, forgiveness need to go across the board with that. Um, what I got on that is Clay. Clay got a little history, but I will say this with Clay, I wouldn't really hold my breath because until Clay actually do the proposing and he wanna go all the way with Meg the Stallion, despite her track record, her history. I think that's when we should chime in on him. But until then, you know, they're dating and let it be what it is. I heard my man coming out. You know what I'm saying? He coming out of jail, and we're gonna see how that play out with their situation. That's gonna be something interesting. But with the immortal Hulk Hogan, man, you know, I remember cutting the TV on, old school TV, floor model, um, watching the Hulkster and Macho Man Randy Savage get it on. I think it was 1989, man. I was glued ever since. When I saw both of them interact and the chemistry that they had, that was sports entertainment at its peak. Like that was the example of sports entertainment to me. The gimmicks was highlighted. They had two of them got the most colorful personalities with gimmicks. They both knew their role. They knew how to do it. And I'm gonna just say it captivated me, man. And Hulk Hogan is the reason why I love wrestling, man. He's the one. He was the one that made me love the sport, and why I watch it today. And he's responsible for all the wrestlers today that's wrestling. Along I ain't gonna leave him out along with Ric Flair. Got to put his name in there too. He's a titan, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. Um, and it's a huge loss, man. One of the biggest losses of the '80s, man, with him and Theo. And all I'm gonna say is I don't know what's gonna happen, but I know a part of for me Thursday when Hulk Hogan passed away, a part of wrestling died for me too. So um, yeah, that's something that was a tough one right there. But you can't live forever. That's the facts. Everybody's is meant to leave this world at some point. But what you can do is leave something on this world, on this earth, and so people can look up and remember you, and that's what lasts forever. Hulkamania will last forever, no doubt. As well as Malcolm Jamal Warner for what he did. So with that being said, man, we got to keep the positivity at a high note going forward, and may these legends and icons, may they rest in peace like they deserve, and with no disrespect allowed to come in between that, you know. And if it was any foul play on Malcolm Jamal Warner or the Hawkster, it need to come out and it need to be resolved. Bottom line. So if it come out, let it come out. I want to see the justice. But other than that, man, I appreciate everything. It's a great show, and but that word forgiveness, man, it go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? It go a long way. I think everybody should be forgiven, even if you is the mortal Hulk Hogan, you need to be forgiven.
And on that note, I want to shout out everybody who came through to join us tonight. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. To all the new subscribers, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. You're the reason why I'm so proactive and I'm constantly sitting in front of this laptop trying to just get everything out here. Without you, there is no me. Shout out to Sydney, Rob, everybody. Robin, 6 Rings. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Oh, do me a solid before y'all go, if you would.
What's the goddamn button?
Appreciate you. We are up out of here, man. Y'all be easy.
Nah, we're not up out here. Not so hood. Shout out to Theo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan.
Incredible Hulk Hogan. Legendary.
Yeah, it's a few more people that passed away this week too. I just can't think of their names, but
Yeah, it has been a lot of passing. Been a strong week.
Yeah.
But nah, we not so hood.
100. See y'all tomorrow, man.
The incredible Hogan.